Hey, good morning. Hey, so let's check attendance. Jeff, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Cyrus, morning.
Morning, sir.
Si Gemma, wala pa. Gemma, are you here? No. Mitzi, good morning.
Good morning, Chef.
Sophia, are you here? Wala. Leo, morning.
Good morning po.
Jay, morning.
Morning, Chef.
Keith, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Noemi. Sandra,
Good morning, Chef.
morning. Jen,
Morning, Chef.
good morning. Wala, nag-ikot. Jen,
Good.
and Kathleen.
Good morning po.
Pinute ko lang yung registers. Hey, good morning everyone. Hey everybody. Leo, can you put down your cameras a bit? Camera down lang konti para makita naman yung face nyo. And Keith also. Keith, show your face. Hey, wabang pa konti. Hey, wait a minute. Let me do some screenshot. Hey, good morning. Ngiti naman kayo. Smile naman kayo dyan. Mitzi, smile naman. Para, yan. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Alright. Hey, good morning everyone. O yan, pwede na kayo magtago ulit. Hey, si Jen, parang tagong-tago na. Hey, good morning. Today, second round of tourism discussion. Okay, so yesterday was the fundamentals of tourism. Okay, today we will discuss terminology called tourism demand and tourism supply. Ako rin magto-turn off ha. Para mapatay ko yung light ko. Mainit. There we go. Okay. So we will discuss tourism demand and tourism supply. So let's start first with the definition. What is demand? Okay, so demand is something that we desire. Okay, so in terms of tourism, it's desire among our potential guests, our potential customers, for products or services, okay, that they are willing to pay. Okay? Kasi may mga demand na wala namang bayad. Pero when we discuss tourism, okay, it's a desire for our guests. Regardless of what type of desire, some would desire simple things. Some would desire talagang elegant and very extravagant things. But bottom line is they are willing and able to pay for it. Okay? So dapat merong monetary um, implications of of your demand. In terms of supply, on the other hand, refers to the availability of goods and services. Simple. Okay, so yun lang naman yung ano eh. Refers to availability of accommodation, availability of plane tickets, availability of your transportation, food. Okay, so meron ba tayong supply of these things to satisfy pretty much the demand and cravings of our potential customers. Okay, simple, okay, but we will discuss more specifically tourism demand and supply. Ito yung generic demand and supply natin. Okay? So when we discuss demand and supply, we need to follow still the basic laws and principles of supply and demand. Okay? So, number one, if the demand increases, so mas maraming tao may gusto, but the supply remains unchanged, a shortage will result. Okay? So, kunyari biglang during the pandemic, okay? So, ang daming planes that were shut off because of probably financial problems, labor issues, transportation issues. So, ang daming nag-close ng mga plane flights. Tapos biglang nag-open. All the countries are now willing to risk yung, even if may COVID pa rin, even may pandemic pa rin, risk opening their business. So, a lot of people demanded travel kasi 2 years na sila stuck at home. Pero hindi nakaka-cope up ang airlines, ang travel, and transport because there's a higher demand than, and then your supply did not change, did not increase. So there's a shortage. Okay? On the reverse naman, okay, if you get a decreasing demand, okay, but and your supply remains unchanged, okay, a surplus will result. Okay, so it happened when people started liking milk tea. Okay, yung the supply of coffee remained unchanged, but the demand for coffee decreased kasi more and more people are shifting into milk tea, di ba? Yung mga boba, lahat na iba-ibang milk teas. So, less and less people are going to coffee shops. So, nagkaroon tayo ng surplus of coffee shops, cafes, okay, in the market. So, mas marami tayong supplies than the demand. Okay? So what will this imbalance in supply and demand do? Okay? If the demand remains unchanged and supply increases, okay, surplus will result. Okay? But at the same time, it will lead your prices to a lower average or lower equilibrium. Mas mababa ang price point natin. If your demand is unchanged, so meron kang constant demand, pero ang dami mong supply, eventually it will drop the prices of your price point. Same thing that happened with milk tea. Okay, so coffee was affected, okay, but milk tea, when everybody shifted to milk tea, tumaas yung demand. Pero naging constant siya. Everybody, okay, milk tea market na tayo. Okay? And then a lot of new milk teas from different brands, that each corner will have their milk tea. Tapos nagkaroon ka ng milk tea supplier at home. You can actually do it at home. So, ang dami nang gumagawa ng milk tea. So many stores are offering milk tea. It pulled the average price point of milk tea from 150 to now 100 or minsan 80 pesos pa nga lang per glass. Okay? So, it affects the supply and demand affects the price. Okay? What happens naman if you do the reverse? If your demand stays unchanged, so meron kang constant demand na, but your supply decreases, you will have a shortage, leading to higher price point. It happened with sili. Okay, yung siling labuyo. Okay? Very normal naman yung kumakain tayo ng sili. Marami tayong dishes with sili. We use it in a lot of in recipes. Okay? But does the supply of sili in the market from the farmers decline? Kumonte because of typhoon, because of pests, because of transport, because of hoarding. So, nag-decrease yung supply natin in the market. It created a shortage. Eventually, it shoot up, raised the price of sili from 150 pesos, or sabihin natin 100 pesos per kilo. Okay? It went up to 900 pesos to 1,200. I think yun ang pinaka-expensive. 1,200 pesos per kilo. So, kita niyo yung difference. The demand did not change. It's a constant demand. It's a norm. Same with garlic. Diba, meron tayong period na garlic and onion was more expensive than, it's close to ordering yung price ng galunggong. fish already. So garlic and onion prices were in demand, but the shortage was really low, a low supply, so it created a shortage, boosting or pushing the prices. Same with gas prices ngayon. Okay, di ba yung gas prices, lagi issue yan because of the war in Europe, in Russia. Okay, so it decreased yung overall worldwide supply of gas. Okay, but the demand stays the same. So ngayon, each country is willing to pay a higher price for the same amount of gas. Kaya yung prices needed to shoot up. Okay, so there's a uh, close relationship between demand, supply, and prices. Okay, pricing. So makita niyo yung difference. Okay, in hotels ngayon, okay, para to relate it lang to hospital. In hotels ngayon, okay, a lot more, there are still a lot of people afraid of going out. Okay? Afraid to book a room in hotels. Afraid to go to resorts. So they're afraid to travel. So meron pa rin tayong fear because nandiyan pa rin naman yung pandemic. Nandiyan pa rin yung fear of the pandemic. Okay? Because of that fear, demand went down. Okay? Pero yung supply mo, hindi ka naman pwede magbawas ng hotel. Hindi ka naman pwede magtanggal ng kwarto sa hotel. So yung supply mo is still there. Okay? So what will this imbalance do? Okay? Ngayon, you can see prices of hotel from a range of, sabihin natin, 6 to 8,000, 6 to 10,000 before. They are selling it to 2,000 pesos. Selling it for even half the, or lower than half the price of the original. Okay? They are giving more and more packages, free nights, free pickup, free buffets, just to get people to check in. Travels. Okay, yesterday I just saw a post from Cebu Pacific, 99 pesos for a ticket. Okay, a ticket with what's this? 99 pesos for a ticket with
Morning, Chef.
good morning. Okay, with no time frame, no flight date, and no destination. So pwede mo siyang gamitin anytime, anywhere. Okay? So the airline company did that kasi they need to keep afloat. Okay? They need, for them, even partial sales, okay, will make a difference in their overall sales. So nakikita nyo yung prices talaga are being pulled by this low demand in accommodations. Okay? So related naman to you being part of the hospitality field. Okay? So there was a low demand for accommodation. So for your business, for hotel businesses or resorts to keep afloat, they had to lay off personnel. So it was during the start of the pandemic, so ang daming natanggal because of low sales, low demand. Okay. Now that countries are opening up, you are the lucky ones kasi you are in the right place at the right time. More and more resorts are opening up. Cruises are starting to get in passengers. Travel is being opened up already. Okay. Hotels are trying to beef up their staffing. So now the demand is increasing. As a hospitality supplier, kunwari hotel, kitchen hotel, F&B, they need to match the demand, so they are looking for people. So tamang-tama yung timing nyo kasi once you guys end your course, the demand is already in the rising movement. So padami ng padami yung nagta-travel. Okay, eventually, once you see that increase in demand, for them to prevent the imbalance, they need to match it with a higher supply, meaning they will start to get more and more people. Okay, so ang daming effects of understanding your supply and demand. Okay, so if this logic or basic law of supply and demand is a general law, but you can see how it affects even tourism. Okay, when we go to tourism demand, okay, so ang considered ang pasok in terms of um, tourism demand, pretty much it's the same. Okay, but the first thing we need to consider when we talk about tourism demand is, will there be a demand for a certain product? Okay, uh, and will it survive as a type of business? Okay, kunyari, if you are thinking, di ba lahat kayo pinagawa ko ng dream restaurant. Okay, in your dream restaurant, okay, some would do a farm to table, some would do a beach location, some would do a food truck. Okay, with your individual restaurants, do you think with that type of restaurant, will people like to go there in the next 5 years or 10 years? Okay, yun na dapat iniisip na as business owners. Okay, how do you create a then constant demand for your product? Okay, so these are the challenges of business owners. How do you create constant demand for your hotel? Okay, how do you create a constant demand for your beach resort? Okay, simple things like cleaning the beach, creating sports activities, offering limited time promos. So all these things are interconnected. Okay, so when we talk of ventures for demand, it doesn't only cover accommodation for F&B. Kasama dito yung transport, okay, hotel transfer, local sightseeing, tour guides, accommodation. So you've given them mga campsites, tree houses, boats, okay, amenities. So kasama yung banking service, food services, okay, tour guides. Okay, so kasama lahat yon in terms of tourism demand. Okay, and kasama din yung mga tour packages. Okay, so all of those things are part of things that your potential customers will be looking for. Okay, so yan yung mga titingnan nila. Okay, so since we're talking about your potential guests, potential customers, we need to understand the different types of potential tourists. Okay? So meron kang listings of 6 possible types, different types of tourists. You have your active demand. Okay? These are your types of tourism demands. Okay? Active demand. You have your potential demand, deferred, suppressed, future, and creative. Okay? What are these ones? What are the differences of each? Active demand. They refer to the people who are actually willing and able to go on tours. Okay, spend their time and resources. Okay, utilizing this tourism demand and supply market. Okay, so they are the ones that actively traveling, actively going to different places, actively moving. So that's part of the definition of tourism. They are a tourist. Okay, you are actively or willingly and resourcefully willing to move from one place to the other. Okay, just to experience, just to create their social impact, environmental impact. Okay, so these are part of the definition of a tourist. Okay, so you have your active, you have your potential. Okay, so potential refers to those people who are willing, okay, but not currently utilizing it. Okay, so dito sa picture, kita niyo yung mga sinners. Okay, they're willing to do it. They have the time, they have the resources. Okay, but may not go to or not be as active as yung active traveler. Okay? So, meron silang plans, meron na silang resource, meron silang time, meron silang they're able, okay, but they're not utilizing it. So, potential yan. Yung potential demand or potential tourism demand is what we target in marketing. Kasi ito yung mga may resources, they have the funds. Parang konting push mo na lang by giving them something like a small carrot. They will push for the travel already. Okay, so these are your potential. Ito yung mga kailangan kinakausap nyo. Okay, so how do you talk to them? Offering them food offerings, offering them special menus. Okay, ito yung mga willing to go to different parts. Okay, have the resources to go to, pero naghahanap pa sila ng final reason to go there. Okay, you have your deferred demand. Okay, those individuals who have the potential to undergo, but they usually delay their plans. So ito yung mga 50-50. Sige, minsan pwede, pwede hindi. Okay? This is yung target ng Cebu Pacific, yung piece of air. Ito yung target ng itong 99 pesos, I think hindi Cebu Pacific, Cebu Pacific, na they will ask you to spend kasi alam nila na merong delayed market. Parang hindi pa kayo decided on when and where to go, but you're already paid. Okay, so meron kang deferred. It can be due to lack of time. Meron kang tinatapos sa office. You have health issues that you need to finish first, or family problems. Basta kung ano no reason. But the potential and the deferred markets are the ones that are being targeted by your tourism marketing. Okay? So, simple lang yan na convincing, they will turn from deferred to active. Okay? You also have your suppressed. Okay, suppressed demand. Okay? Willing and able to, but because of lack of information, ano ba makikita doon? Ano bang meron doon? Ano bang meron sa Thailand? Ano bang meron sa Japan? Ano bang meron in your resort in Bali? Why do I need to go? They are still looking for the reason. Okay? So, to go. So, nandito na ngayon yung mga tourism advertising. Nandito na, it's fun. It's more fun in the Philippines. So, ganun yung mga campaigns nila. Showcasing the different local Philippine tour destinations. Okay? For foreigners. Para meron sila, meron palang ganyan. For those na hindi pa nakakapunta ng Japan, and then you see the cherry blossom. Para, saan to? In Japan. Saan in Japan? What location? What time? What date? Okay, so now you get all this information. Okay, these are the ones that are willing and have the resources, pero kulang pa sila sa knowledge in terms of certain destinations. That's why they don't actually go to specific countries. Okay? Meron namang this next one, your future demand. Okay? Future demand, they have a target that is by this year, okay, I will be going to Disneyland. Okay, by this year, pag yung anak ko turn 6, 7, mas maintindihan na yung Disneyland, we can go to Disneyland. By 15, if my kids are already 15 years old, I will bring them to Orlando so that they can experience Universal Studios. Kasi mas ma-appreciate natin. So they already planned for their trips, okay, their tours, even beforehand. Okay, so ito yung mga future thinkers. Okay, so nagpaplano yung mga yan ng years before, years ahead. Okay, so those are the common. But there's a new demand now, which is actually a fast-growing type of tourism demand, which is your creative demand. Okay, because of technology, because of innovations, because of social media, because of the feeling that you want to be part of what the world is experiencing. you see more and more of this creative demand. Okay, it's a new type of tourism. Okay, where they highlight products and services that offer you creative and unique experiences. Okay, so nandito yung mga new trends. You have yung mga, I saw this one recently that they're highlighting a 3D hologram circus. Okay, so may mga tao pa, oh, astig, so I wanna see that. Okay, you get destination, yung mga amusement parks, di ba? They try to make everything as creative as possible para even if you visited today, give it a couple of months, iba na naman yung nakikita nyo. Okay, meron naman new attraction. And that new attraction is what creates that constant demand from your tourist. Okay, so those are just parang categories of tourism demands. Okay, those are the ones that you guys need to understand. When you are, since you will be part of the hospitality and tourism industry, you need to understand those different demands kasi it will affect what you're doing in the hospitality greatly. For example, isipin nyo, nasa kitchen naman ako palagi, ano yung magiging, paano kami magiging involved in terms of tourism. Okay? There, you can see the growth of food tourism. You can see the growth of food tours, food travel. Okay? And food is always in the picture when anybody goes out of their comfort zone. Okay? Kahit nga mag-restaurant ka lang dito sa local restaurant scene natin, lagi pinipicturean yung food or yung ambience, yung service, pinapakita niyo yung mga waiters kung mababait. Diba? That's part, it's already part of our norm. Okay? So, don't think na kitchen kami, we cannot affect tourism we cannot affect tourism and its demand. Okay? Lahat yon are part of bringing in guests and customers. Okay? So let's understand those are the different demands. Let's see naman ano yung mga different types of tourists. Okay, may iba-iba silang reason. So, iba-iba yung reasons nila, iba-iba yung demand nila, iba-iba yung kine-crave nila as tourists. Okay, so let's see the different types of tourists.
When you think of the word tourist, you may imagine the combination of a Hawaiian shirt, shorts, socks, and sandals. Other stereotypes and images may pop into your head, good or bad. But according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, a tourist is a person who travels and stays in a place outside of his or her usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business, or other purposes. The definition of tourist may be wide and expansive, but not all tourists are the same. Scholars have developed a spectrum of tourist types. Tourists are divided into 4 groups based on demographic characteristics, lifestyle, personality, and more. The 4 groups or typologies are drifter, explorer, individual mass tourist, and organized mass tourist. Because this is a spectrum rather than 4 defined groups, some tourists may not fit into the tourist typologies, but may fall into different points on the spectrum. This typology is the drifter. The drifter does not consider themselves a tourist. They desire to discover the undiscovered and visit new developing destinations. A drifter will immerse themselves in the culture as much as possible. They rely on local food and transportation. For some drifters, they are traveling for education and self-exploration. For others, it is about doing something different, something not usually done. Next, we have the explorer. The explorer travels for education, religious enlightenment, mental or physical well-being, or other specific types of experiences at the destination. An explorer will interact with not just individuals working the front desk, restaurant servers, or maintenance staff, but also the local population. Explorers arrange for their own travel and rely on both the tourism infrastructure and the local infrastructure. After the explorer, we have the individual mass tourist. The motivation for this tourist is relaxation, recreation, or diversion. An individual mass tourist will rely primarily on the tourism infrastructure for transportation and desire things that are familiar and comfortable. Individual mass tourists are interested in activities and experiences that are not available to them in their home environment. With caution and in a safe manner, they will seek the opportunity to explore the destination. On the far side of the spectrum, we have the organized mass tourist. The primary intention of travel for the organized mass tourist is diversion and escape from the boredom or repetition of daily life. The organized mass tourist emphasizes rest and relaxation. They will enjoy good food, entertainment, and accommodations familiar to them. The organized mass tourist is less interested in the unique experiences offered at their destination. They might stay in recognized brand name resorts and are highly dependent on the tourism infrastructure and services. The organized mass tourist would lean towards booking all-inclusive vacation packages involving less planning. Say we had 4 tourists headed to Thailand. John is our drifter. Rather than staying in the popular cities such as Bangkok, Chiang Mai, or Phuket, John would choose to stay in a lesser-known island or in the countryside in a town such as Sakon Nakhon. While there, John would stay with locals or in local accommodations. John the drifter would shop at the morning market. John would rent or buy a moped and explore the city and nearby mountains. Next is Kate the explorer. You might find Kate in Bangkok or Chiang Mai. Kate the explorer came to Thailand to experience the culture and experience Thai Buddhism. Kate tries the local food, visits the temples, and participates in some of the Buddhist ceremonies. Kate the explorer uses the train to get around and would stay in a place like a hostel. Then we have Mia, the individual mass tourist. While in Thailand, Mia would go to the tourist hotspot of Phuket. While in Phuket, Mia would venture out on a snorkeling trip booked through her hotel with pickup and drop-off. Mia, the individual mass tourist, eats at the restaurant across from the hotel with a mix of Thai food and American food. The hotel also has an attached spa. After a day out on the beach, Mia would come back and enjoy a nice massage at the spa. Finally, we have Dave, the organized mass tourist. Dave booked an all-inclusive resort in the beaches of Thailand. He is a member of the resort's global loyalty program and is cashing in on some of his earned points. On the resort property, Dave can enjoy a good game of golf, his favorite sport. The restaurant serves some Americanized Thai dishes and nothing too spicy for Dave to enjoy. If you wish to work in the tourism sector, understanding the different typologies of tourists is important. Not only do you better understand your guests, but you can anticipate the needs and wants of your guests.
Okay, so by understanding, as mentioned here, by understanding your guest, you, as people working or possibly working in the hospitality industry, by understanding your guests, what type of guests they are, you can then anticipate their needs. Okay, you can understand what type of demand they're looking for, and then supply them with the needs to satisfy the customer. Okay? Kaya important yung our knowledge of our guests. Okay? Now let's go to, so alam na natin yung mga demands, alam na natin yung mga requests and cravings of your potential guests. Okay? So of your guests, of your customers. Okay? From the other side naman, we need to understand also how we can supply all those tourism demands. Okay? So when we discuss tourism supply, it's directly connected to cater to the demands of your guests. Okay? So how do we provide our guests with service that is related to their demand? Okay? So these are the types of tourism supplies that you can divide them into 2 sectors. You have your wholesale, okay, or tour operators. Okay, kasama dito yung, di ba nga, is mentioned in the types of tourists. Okay, yung hotels, hindi lang to yung mga nagbo-book ng large scale na parang tour guide na Jerusalem tour guide, yung mga ganun. Hindi, it's not only those types of tour guides. It's having a standard type of booking. So, meron kang booking, meron kang food, meron kang accommodation, parang naka-set na, naka-preset na. Okay? You can offer it to a group of 10, you can offer it to a couple, you can offer the same tour package, okay, to just one person. Parang naka-preset ka na. Okay? Wala ka na isipin. So, kaya siya parang wholesale kasi bibili mo na yung buong tour package. Okay? Yung second type naman is you individualize it. Okay? Meron kang travel agent. With the travel agent, okay, you can think of it as a la carte type. So the other one is a complete full 10 meal course. Okay? Na you cannot decide ano yung makuha mo. Basta pag nag-book ka, ito yung mga gawin mo. You look at the hotspots. Meron ka ng tour guide, meron ka ng travel. Paulit-ulit lang. They do the same routine. When you, there's another version, is the retail. You can pre-book, you can change your itinerary, you can explore new things, you can go be a tourist and select your destinations. Okay? So they target yung small quantities pero they can do an a la carte type of tourism supply. Okay? As a way to connect to them, you get 3 different modes. You have your direct selling. Okay, yung online selling, very very common na for us. Okay, indirect selling, you use mga sales representative, you use yung mga cold calls. Okay, they still do indirect selling. Okay, as part kunyari ng credit card. Okay, if you reach a gold member of your credit card, somebody from Shangri-La will call you, hey, this from Shangri-La, this card is offering you a discount. So may mga indirect selling pa rin that is happening. You can also book some in mga online stores, okay, where you can see some ads on the side. So search ka lang sa Google ng something, makikita, uy, beach, ganda ng picture, click. Oh, that's already a sale. Okay? And then you have your personal selling, yung mga door-to-door or yung mga face-to-face type of selling. Can be direct or indirect. Okay? As part of hospitality, we also need, we should not only focus on the tourists, the types of tourists, the types of demand that they are looking for, but we also need to understand the supply chain. Okay? So where we can provide tourist customer satisfaction. Okay, so this is what she calls chain of distribution.
In today's video, I'm going to teach you all about the chain of distribution. Now, this is something that's pretty important. Sounds complicated, but it's definitely not. Stay tuned to learn all about it in this video. And if you are new here, my name is Dr. Hayley Stainton, and I'm your travel and tourism teacher here on YouTube. The chain of distribution is the series of companies or businesses that are involved in transporting, storing, and providing goods and services to customers. The chain of distribution is often represented visually using a chart. This chart demonstrates the elements of the chain of distribution at different levels. The levels are typically given titles of principals, wholesalers, retailers, and consumers. In fact, the chain of distribution helps us to understand something that I did make a video on a while ago. So this video is almost the precursor to that, which is horizontal and vertical integration. If you haven't seen that one yet, do check it out at the end of this video. There are 4 key elements within the typical chain of distribution that are commonly noted. Each business system is different, and it is designed in order to ensure that that specific business is efficient and as effective as it can be. As such, the chain of distribution is really more of a guide than a rule. So let's start off by looking at principles. The principles are the core elements that are being sold to the consumer. Within the tourism industry, this includes a wide variety of products and services, including accommodation, transport, attraction tickets, and ancillary products and services. Examples could include a hotel room at the Marriott, an Airbnb apartment, an EasyJet flight booking, or a ticket to Disney World. And then we have the wholesalers. So who are they? The wholesalers are the people who package the product. Within the travel and tourism industry, the biggest wholesaler is represented as a tour operator. A tour operator is the organisation who takes various aspects of the travel experience and packages them together. This is then traditionally sold by a travel agent. Many organisations choose to undertake their tour operations and travel agent elements together. So it might not always be transparent to the consumer that these are actually two separate stages of the chain of distribution. Nowadays, though, many tourists are moving away from booking package holidays organised through tour operators, and they're now putting together their own packages, known as dynamic packaging. Examples of wholesalers include TUI, Expedia, Kuoni, Cox, and Kings. And then what about the retailers? Who are they? The retailers are the organisations that sell the products and or services. Within travel and tourism, we often refer to travel agents as being the most common retailers, but there are plenty of others. Traditionally, travel agents would have high street shops. However, in recent years, many of these have been closing down, and instead people are using these travel agents' online provisions instead. People are also frequently choosing to avoid travel agents altogether and book their holidays independently. Examples of retailers in travel and tourism include TUI, Travel Supermarket, and STA Travel. And then we have the consumers. The consumers are the customers who purchase the products and or services. There are many different types of consumers or tourists. The most common types of tourists include business travellers, leisure tourists, domestic tourists, international tourists, and people who are visiting friends and relatives. So this chain of distribution gives you the rough outline of the sort of production process in travel and tourism. And what you really need to know now is how that then plays into the role of horizontal and vertical integration. So I will put that video right here and make sure you go ahead right now and watch that one next.
Mag-Bear Brand Adult Plus. Proven na tumutulong.
Okay, so there's a lot more happening in the back end providing the supply. Okay, in terms of factors that affect both tourism demand and supply, there are things that we need to think of. Okay, so these are just some of the factors that are affecting the demand. Okay, yung craving ng mga tao. Okay, or how to, parang you can think of it as mga deciding factors. Okay. So, when travelers or tourists are faced, okay, they have their demand, but usually some of these factors will contribute to pushing them to become an active demand or to pushing them to become a future demand or a deferred or suppressed demand. Okay, one of these factors would be your socio-economic factors. Okay, do you have disposable income? Okay, kasi usually tourists would travel, be connected to leisure. Okay, so do you have the expenses? Do you have the funds to actually spend to do your travel? Okay, do you have paid holiday pay or holiday leaves at work? Okay, do you have parang all these factors affect your day-to-day parang economy. Okay? Is this the best time to travel? Okay, so kasama na siguro rin dito yung savings. So meron pa kayong tamang savings. Sino yung sasama nyo? So all these things, they come into a tourist's mind before they decide. Okay, so that's part of the factors that will help them decide. Okay, another factor, okay, psychological factors. Okay, ano ba yung yes, you're willing, yes, you're able. Okay, pero what will push you? What will motivate you to travel? Okay, you can do naman your travel. If you have the funds and you're willing, what will motivate you? What will push you to to travel? Okay? Is it to gain experience, gain education, to be alone, okay, to meditate, okay? So all these things are psychological factors that will push you, ba? May mga nakita tayo, yung pag medyo depressed or kaka-break lang, first thing that they do is they travel para maka-escape. Okay, that's a psychological factor. Okay, so from being a future demand type of tourist to being an active tourist, ang trigger nila is a psychological push. Okay? Sometimes, sobra na tayong stressed in work that we need to escape. We need to go out of our comfort zones. So, it's already a push for us, for your tourists, to transfer from being a potential to being an active demand tourist. Okay? So another factor for them to decide, technological factors. Okay? What can they see online? So social media, ang dami. Pictures, di ba? Yung maiinggit. Okay? Yung feeling na they want to be part of, or they have the feeling that, fear of, fear of not being part ba yun? Something, okay? So, you always need to be one with what's happening in social media. Fear of being alone, okay? Fear of being left out. Na, kami lahat nakapunta na ng Siargao, ikaw, nabutan ka na ng bagyo, hindi ka pa nakakapunta. Okay, so meron ganyang feeling ngayon, okay? But these are caused by technological factors. Ito yung mga nakita nila. Imagine if you don't have Facebook. Okay? Kasi zero Facebook, zero social media. Okay? So, technology will not be able to push you decide. Okay? Technology now plays a big part in decision making kasi if you are visible, diba, before we book a resort, before we book a restaurant, before we order our takeouts, first thing we do, check reviews. Tingnan mo nga kung may mga kumain na dito. Kung wala pa, huwag na tayo mag-order na. Check if they have a social media presence. Tingnan mo nga kung legit. Tingnan mo nga kung, check nga if their hotel has a nice view or baka it's just random marketing na. Okay? So we use technology as tourists to help us decide. Okay? It adds to that decision making. So it's a conversion from diba, there's a suppressed demand, yung hindi alam. Okay? They are willing, they are able to travel, but because of lack of information, wala silang motivation. Okay? So technology answers that. Okay? Because technology can provide you with a lot of information. Okay? Given those factors, okay, there are other things that we need to put into consideration. Okay? Yes, na-push nyo na sila, na-travel nyo, napa-book nyo na sila, napa-travel nyo na sila. Okay? These are classifications affecting naman yung experience of your tourist. Okay? So these are classification of activities. You can provide them with sports or physical activities. You can provide them with events, festivals, be a spectator, be an audience, concert. So these are possible things that you can offer them. Okay? You can provide them with education, free museums. You can give them a tour around the city, okay? Or a nature trip, or a food trip, food tour. Give them health activities, meditation, spa, calmness. Diba? May mga resorts na ganito yung mindset nila. Kunyari yung the spa yung resort nila. Okay, they target this type of activity. Come to our resort and you will feel relaxed and meditated. Okay? Relax and calm. Okay? You can do your meditation. It's a way for you to escape. Yun yung marketing approach nila. Okay? So, that's part of how you target your potential tourists. Okay? So now if you're doing your own farm to table, okay, how do you position yourself? Okay? In our restaurant, you get to experience the fresh taste of nature. Paglabas nyo ng restaurant, meron kayong farm view. Okay, so those are the things that you need to think of kasi it's all part of understanding the mindset of your tourists. Okay? Sightseeing. So given na yan. Yung mga may magagandang view, usually mas fully booked. Kaya ang daming nagpapabook ng yung sa mga restaurants with a nice view. Okay, as compared to restaurants inside the mall. Diba? They can price it higher kasi you're paying for the view. Okay? So these are just some of the activities and things that you can use to convince your potential suppressed tourists. Okay? Ito yung mga triggers na will motivate them to become active. Okay? So one of the mentioned factors of tourism demand is in information. Okay? So let's learn about the different types of tourist destinations. Wait. Okay, from the same person. Wait, napatay ko siya. Patay ko yung tab. Wait a minute. Loading.
There are so many wonderful places that we can go as a tourist. Whether you're a beach person, whether you're a mountain person, whether you like built up places or secluded areas, there is something for everyone in this world. The world has so much to offer. But if we are to categorise it, what are the different types of tourist destinations? If you are new here, my name is Dr. Hayley Stainton, and I'm your tourism teacher on YouTube. There are many different types of tourist destinations which facilitate different types of tourism. If we are to ensure that tourism is profitable and sustainable, it is important that we understand the different types of tourist destinations and the types of customers that they might attract. So let's start off by saying what exactly is a tourist destination anyway? Well, a tourist destination is a place or an area that relies heavily on the economic benefits from tourism. A tourist destination can be large, for example, it can be a whole city, or it can also be small, such as a small coastal resort or a village. In fact, the term tourism destination is a pretty subjective term, and there isn't really a universal definition. In other words, what one person says is a destination, another person may not agree. Anyway, let's keep things simple. Here is my definition, and as a tourism academic, I've done a lot of research, I think I'm fairly qualified to give one, of a tourist destination. A tourist destination is any area, large or small, that attracts and caters for tourists, with tourism being the dominant, or one of the dominant, income generators for that area. Okay, so let's get down to the crux of it. What are these different types of tourist destinations? There are different types of tourist destinations all around the world. Of course, no two destinations are the same. This is what makes travel so exciting. But we can generally group destinations together into categories. And there are 5 major categories. The first category is the beach area. Beach areas are really popular tourist destinations. And it's no surprise. Who doesn't love lying on the beach and going for a swim in crystal clear, turquoise waters? Some people will travel a really long way to reach a beach, whereas other people may only travel a short distance. Beach tourism is therefore popular with both domestic and international tourists. Beach areas are not all the same. In fact, beach areas do vary considerably. Islands, resorts and secluded spots make up just 3 types of beach areas. And don't forget that there are also artificially made beaches. For those of you who follow me on social media, you will know that at the moment I am living in China. And I am nowhere near a beach. But there is a beach not too far away. In fact, there are two. There are two beaches in my city. And these are artificial beaches that have been created by, one's by a river and one's by a lake. And they're really popular tourist destinations. So don't be fooled by thinking beach destinations are only by the ocean and that they are only naturally occurring. Many beach areas have been turned into resorts, and these resorts have been specifically developed for tourism. They generally consist of the beach area, hotels, bars, restaurants, entertainment venues and activities. Often these beach resorts will encourage enclave tourism, which is when people don't get out and about, they just stay in their local area, they just do the things that are available to them within their hotel complex or within the resort. And often these beach resorts will privatise the beaches too. And in my opinion, that's not a great thing because it means that the beaches can no longer be used by people who are not staying in the hotel that owns that section of the beach. So these are some sustainability issues, and I won't go into this at length right now, but these are some sustainability issues that you might want to think about if you are doing a bit more research on beach tourism. And the second type of tourist destination is the natural area. Natural areas are popular types of tourist destinations too. Natural areas can be broken down into different types of natural areas, such as mountains, forests, and countryside. You can do lots of different things at these areas. You can go mountain climbing. Did I ever tell you about the time I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro? That was awesome. If you're considering it, do it. Anyway, I digress. You can go hiking, skiing, horse riding, quad biking, lots more. There are popular forests all around the world where people go to enjoy the natural flora and fauna according to that geographical location. People might visit forests because they have tourist facilities that are specially located there. In the UK, we have Center Parcs, for example, that is a famous holiday park, always located in forests. And there are so many countryside areas around the world. Rural tourism has really grown in recent years. And countryside isn't just open landscape either. It could include mountain areas, lakes, hills, forests, woods, plains, fields. It includes it all. Countryside areas are really popular types of tourist destinations, and they're great if you just want to get some fresh air, relax, and take part in a wide range of activities. And the next type of tourist destination is the town and city. Towns and cities are really popular types of tourist destinations. One of the major reasons for this is because they are easily accessible. They're generally well connected. They'll have airports, train stations, major roads, and often you have low-cost airlines that offer flights there too. I've flown to so many places in Europe for just a few pounds over the years. Been to Venice, Paris, Rome. The budget airline really has changed travel forever. Towns and cities actually attract lots of different types of tourists too. Whether you're travelling for a stag party, a business trip, or a family getaway, there's something to suit everyone. And that's what makes towns and cities really popular types of tourist destinations. Another popular type of tourist destination is the winter sports areas. Winter sports is a popular form of active sports tourism. People travel to destinations with winter conditions. These could be real or they could be artificial, and they generally take part in a range of sporting activities. Activities could include skiing, sledging, snowmobiling, husky riding, snow walking, snowboarding, ice skating, tobogganing, and lots more. Last year I went to the north of China to a city called Harbin, which has its famous ice and snow festival. That was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But I don't know if I'm in a hurry to experience the minus 30 degree temperatures again. I'm also really keen to go to Lapland and see Santa with my children. I think that would be so cute and they would absolutely love it. There are just so many cool winter destinations, and I don't even like the cold. And we then have areas that are known for their culture or their heritage. Usually, these destinations feature high on cultural tourism agendas, and they offer lots of tourist attractions with cultural and heritage value. Many of these areas are designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites too. A UNESCO World Heritage Site is an area that's been designated so by the United Nations because it has cultural, historical, scientific, or another form of significance. There are more than 1,000 of these around the world. Typically on my travels, we visit multiple UNESCO World Heritage Sites. I don't really know how this happens, but everywhere we go, there are just always these incredible sites to visit, whether they are temples or ancient ruins or religious buildings, palaces. I just love it. I love learning about the history and the culture and the heritage of areas, and they're fascinating. So there we have it. Those are my 5 main types of tourist destinations. What is your favourite? What kind of holiday do you like? What do you think might grow?
Okay, so ang dami yung options when you travel. Okay? So, when we cover naman your tourism supply, what are the things that affect naman your tourism supply? Okay, 1, geographical location. Baka ganda-ganda ng resort nyo, ganda-ganda ng restaurant nyo, ang ganda ng ambience, concept, everything, pero ang hirap nyo puntahan. Wala kayong way to get to your restaurant. It will not answer the demand of your guest. Okay? It will be, instead of a convenience, it will be hard for you to pull in people. Okay? Technology is also a factor that affects your supply. Okay? Minsan, restaurants, if they don't have a social media presence, if they don't have an online presence, if they don't have a signal sa restaurant nila, minsan turn off yun, minsan nga wifi lang, but minsan it's intentional. Okay? But if you don't use technology, okay, even yung POS, point of sale natin, you just plug it in. May ibang restaurants that they write everything down. Ang tagal ng process, okay, because of everything being written down. It's hard for them to bring in more and more guests. Okay, so aside from geographical locations, aside from technology, okay, you also need to think of service providers. Meron ba silang access to go to your, meron ba silang service that they can use to access your restaurant? Okay, meron ba, do they need to ride a boat, a plane? Okay, so if I'm a tourist and then you're selling a authentic pizza in an island, would I spend plane fare, boat ride, just to eat your pizza? Ganun ba siya ka-expect? Ganun ba siya ka-unique that I need to exert too much effort, okay, in terms of acquiring these different services just to get to your restaurant? Okay, so infrastructure. Do you have the right infrastructure to house your guests? Okay, so these are factors naman affecting your supply. Okay, you being a demand tourism supplier. So hindi kayo nagsusupply ng karne, but you are catering to the demands of your tourists. Okay, as a supplier, as part of the hospitality industry, as part of the kitchen hospitality, kitchen staff, you are then positioned to provide and supply for the demands of your tourists. Okay? Okay, now we discuss the indicators of what are the number indicators that can signify if your tourism is going higher or lower. Okay, and then how it affects, how does the balance of your demand and supply affect overall numbers, okay, in general. Okay, so one of the main effects of having a good demand and supply balance is seen in economy. Okay, so if you get a high demand, usually the supply follows. Okay, it can be related to people getting employed. Okay, you get an increase average of income, okay, dun sa mga tao in those tourist destinations. Okay? As compared to having zero kunwari, for example, Boracay. When Boracay started, parang you can see not too much hotels. Okay, so yung living ng mga tao doon, just yung normal provincial life, okay, beach life. Okay, but since tourism came into play, you can see a lot more construction. You can see a lot more people, local people being employed. You get an increase in their income. Okay, you get an increase in local businesses, okay, and investments. So you get an increase in interest in tourist destination areas. Okay, so malaki ang economic impact, okay, of tourism, of a balance of tourism demand and supply in terms of economy. Okay, so let's see. Okay, since we're discussing this balance, let's see a life, yung day in a life of a hotel worker. Okay, so what do we need to learn? Let's see a glimpse of their day to day. Okay, since they're part of tourism supply. Okay.
These hotel workers.
This is Yohei, 30 years old, living in Tokyo, and he's just waking up for work. He starts his day by checking his temperature, as these days it's become a company requirement. He lives in this one-room apartment, and by Tokyo standards, it's fairly spacious. Yohei, how long does it take you before you leave the house?
1時間ぐらいかけて仕事行ってます。
I guess that's a single life. Interestingly, Tokyo has the highest number of single households in Japan at 49%, whereas the average in Japan is 35%. Damn, that's a lot of math. I guess these days you can never have enough. Chiba and Kobe for 2 years. Yohei lives only 5 minutes away from the train station, and then another 15-minute train ride to work without a transfer. It's not the shortest commute time, but far better than most in Tokyo. Plus, he doesn't have to negotiate through a Tokyo rush hour transfer. Alright, we're back with another day in our life. I'm really excited to see how this unfolds. Yohei should be on this train right now. Let's see how he slept the night before. Good morning. How did you sleep last night?
ちゃんと寝ました。昨日は12時ぐらい。今日は消防訓練があるんで、走り回って体力使うんで、しっかり寝ました。
Is your office far from here?
ここすぐそこです。駅から徒歩1分で着きます。
So Yohei works as an assistant manager at Appa Hotel Shinjuku Gyoenmae. Appa is one of the largest hotel chains in Japan. There are 623 hotels in the country with about 98,000 rooms.
おはようございます。おはようございます。おはようございます。
Appa Hotel uniquely identified as a new urban-style hotel, high quality, high functionality, without all the unnecessary services, often mistaken as a Japanese business hotel, which are typically budget-style hotels, smaller rooms, bare amenities, and close to the train station, originally intended for traveling Japanese salarymen.
本日の朝礼を行います。全員気をつけ。おはようございます。
After clocking in, Yohei has a traditional Japanese morning meeting called chore. At his hotel, though, there are both day shift and night shift workers, and so at the beginning of each shift, they hold a similar meeting.
赤の新庄を称号します。赤の新庄。我々はいつも気持ちの良い環境をテーマに時代の流れを的確に捉え、
To commence, staff recite the Apple principles in unison, which is typical for many Japanese companies.
おはようございます。いらっしゃいませ。おはようございます。いらっしゃいませ。
Afterwards, the staff practice their customer greetings. In Japan, there's a unique hospitality custom called omotenashi. It means services are always completely genuine and honest. Because it's so deeply rooted in Japanese culture, the staff make extra efforts to provide guests with the best experience possible without expecting anything in return. First thing in the morning, Yohei cleans around the hotel. Yohei, do you do this every morning?
毎日従業員が出勤したら清掃します。
In Japan, it's important for companies to maintain a clean kept area in front of their business, which also includes public walkways. Although not their responsibility to clean, they do it anyway. Next, he helps sanitize the hotel. Due to COVID, the hotel has adopted stricter cleaning and sterilization measures. Yohei visits each of the 14 floors in the building and wipes down all the elevator buttons as well as other high-touch areas in the hotel. During peak checkout times, Yohei focuses on assisting guests.
チェックアウトこちらへどうぞ。
The hotel uses express checkout stands. The machine has a built-in sensor that recognizes the room number, automatically registering the checkout into the system while also notifying the cleaning crew that the room is ready to be cleaned. Oh, I guess he's going to the hotel restaurant.
料理長、明日の朝食のおすすめメニューをお願いします。
So Yohei checks in with a head chef to confirm the next day's menu so he can prepare signage as well as inform inquiring guests. Mmm, something smells good. Oh, there you go. Breakfast is served. What's in here?
こちらが防災用のアパ社長カレーとお水の備蓄倉庫になります。
In Japan, hotels are often used as evacuation locations, so storing food and water is necessary. So why did you decide to work at a hotel?
もともと接客業が好きで、お客様に喜んでもらえる仕事は何かと考えたときに、ホテル業っていうものを選びました。
ではこれから消防訓練を行います。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
はい、次回1回101号室発砲、現場確認に当たれ。はい。
Oh, it looks like they're starting their monthly fire drill. So they select the location in the hotel for the fire to start. It's a staff's responsibility to quickly and safely guide guests to evacuate, as well as extinguish the fire if possible. Usually the hotel is filled with guests, so it's critical for the team to regularly drill in case a real fire were to happen in order to keep everyone safe.
消火になります。Attention please. Attention please. 消火開始。1、2、消火失敗しました。避難誘導に当たります。火事です。火事です。火災発生しました。
Wow, they're really taking this seriously. I'm getting flashbacks from another day in the life I recently did. Apparently, the company also have first responder training 4 times a year so that all the staff are comfortable with evacuation procedures, reporting to the fire department, and even handling a fire extinguisher.
ではありがとうございました。はい、
ありがとうございました。
失敗の報告があったのは12時5分でした。そこまでの。
After the drill, the team reviews what they did, good and bad, so they can make improvements for the next time around.
では消防訓練終わります。全員気をつけ。礼。
はい、フロントでございます。はい、わかりました。今から掃除行きます。
What just happened?
今、地下1階の電子レンジのところが食べ物で汚れてしまってるみたいなんで、今から掃除しに行きます。
Throughout the day, he's tasked with random guest requests and issues like this. It's critical for the hotel to always maintain a clean and pleasant environment for its guests, so a lot of his time is also spent regularly checking the hotel facilities are well kept.
カレーのシミですごい汚れました。
Yohei, what do you enjoy most about working here?
一番好きなところは、今福祉配人って言って管理職に当たるんですけど、チームのみんなを引っ張って売り上げが上がったりするのが、自分のやりがいで、それが成功した時が一番楽しかったなと思います。
Okay, a company man. You don't really have much office work, right?
いや、ありますあります。例えば、お客さんの部屋割りを決めたり。
In addition, he adjusts the room prices based on the current room occupancy to attract more guests. So it looks like Yohei has some office tasks to do right now. Let's take advantage of this time and see if there's room to explore this place. So this is one of the storage rooms on each of the floors. Let's go inside and see what they have. I guess basically it has everything that you would expect. It has sheets, it has towels, it has soap, it has batteries, it has cups, it has pretty much everything you would need. What's quite interesting is that the elevators here have 2 doors. One is used for the clients and then the other one is used for the workers. This right behind me right here says deluxe toilet. Let's see what a deluxe toilet looks like. let's lock that. Basically, you have your basic baby changer here, and then you have your regular automatic toilet, which I love. Even has a special flushing sound so that you don't bother anyone, or if you make special noises in here, then other people can't hear from the outside. And just behind me, they even have their own parking lot. But because real estate is a little bit tight in the city, they have a special type of parking lot. Let me show you. Wow, look at all of these batteries right here. I suppose with 411 rooms, there's as many or even more remote controls. Oh, I guess he's decided to have lunch at the hotel restaurant today. Since staff rotate on breaks, Yohei usually eats lunch by himself. Oh, that's the same curry we saw earlier. I wonder what it tastes like.
はい、お待たせいたしました。角煮ハンバーグです。
Looks like he's having hamburger for lunch. That looks amazing. Do you eat here often?
僕はここのレストランすごい好きなんでたまに行きますけど、やっぱりコンビニとかで安く済ませることも多いですね。
After lunch, he prepares for room inspections. To maintain the highest level of room cleanliness, he performs quality checks for 10 rooms randomly. If he finds an issue, he fixes it himself and reports it back to the cleaning crew so the same thing won't happen again. Oh, there's Shinjuku Gilman Park. Yohei, how did this room do?
この部屋は合格です。
Well, that's one room down, 9 to go. So these are the standard size rooms. Cool, even has luggage space under the bed. So after his check, he re-sanitizes the room. The cleaning crew also sanitizes the room, but since he entered the room afterwards, the room must be sanitized again. Oh, now he's going to the Daiokujo. In English, it's a large bath at a ryokan or hotel. Yohei, what are you doing?
大浴場の塩素濃度を測ってます。清潔なお湯でお風呂で泳いできる、ちゃんと塩素が入ってることを確認してます。
It's widely known that Japanese have a deep-rooted bath culture, preferring full baths over showers. Because of this, many urban and business hotels these days offer a shared bath area. In fact, many salarymen and other Japanese decide upon the hotel based on whether the hotel has a shared bath or not. Here they have the onsen bath where all of the guests can come and use. You can see right behind me is that they have these stalls where you can take a shower and clean yourself off before you go in. And look right there, they have everything you need: shampoo, soap, and conditioner.
いらっしゃいませ。ありがとうございます。カード、アプリ会員証お持ちでしょうか。アプリ持ってます。
During the peak check-in hour, Yohei assists guests with a check-in machine. At his hotel, guests can also check in through an app to save time at the front desk. Guests can simply scan the code and immediately receive their card. Oh, the guest sent a package to the hotel in advance. Now, Yohei is helping him carry it to his room. In Japan, tipping is not customary and in some ways can be awkward as it's unexpected. It's ingrained in Japanese culture to take pride in your work, no matter at what level. So receiving a tip as an incentive to deliver the best service is viewed as unnecessary. All time back to omotenashi.
ちょっと見づらいですかね、これ。写真撮って。
写真撮ったのか。赤で、ここも赤かな。
As an assistant manager, Yohei also helps train the staff throughout the day, providing guidance on proper procedures and overall guest services. How long have you been working here?
1年目です。
What do you like most about this job?
お客様にありがとうって言われる時が嬉しいです。
After check-in slowed down, Yohei has to perform other miscellaneous
あ
tasks.
りがとうございます。赤モテル新宿巨大な林でございます。
Oh, he's speaking Keigo. It's a formal way of speaking polite Japanese intended for customers, superiors, and hotel guests. Schools in Japan generally teach students the fundamentals, but only until one enters the real world is it used. So even for Japanese people, it's sometimes difficult to speak without practice.
お客様が忘れ物をしたそうなので保管している場所に取りに行きます。
How long does the hotel keep the lost and found items?
食品、飲食物は1日保管、その他のものは3ヶ月保管します。
What about the expensive stuff?
高いものであれば、すぐに警察に届けます。ありました。今からお客様に連絡します。赤ホテル新宿巨大な
Good work. That's another happy guest. He still has a little bit of time left, so he sanitizes the used cars for next time. And now, he cleans around the hotel one more time before leaving.
お疲れ様です。失礼します。
はい、お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様です。失礼します。お疲れ様です。
Yay, finally finished! After work, he usually goes out to dinner with his friends, as there are many restaurants and bars in the Shinjuku area, but because of COVID, these days he goes straight home. Oh, he's making gyoza tonight. That looks pretty good. In Yohi's free time, he plays the guitar in a band and he writes his own music. Wow, he's pretty talented. I guess tonight he's feeling it. So it looks like Yohei is going to be playing the guitar for just a little bit longer. Then after that, he'll take a bath and then probably go to sleep by 12 o'clock tonight. Let me know what you guys thought of this day in the life of a Japanese hotel worker. Let me know in the comments.
Okay, so that shows you how hectic it is to work in a hotel. Ano pa lang yun? Front of house. Okay, that's your reception, hotel, and management side of tourism. Okay, so going back to our presentation. Okay, so these are indicators also of tourism demand. So what can tourism bring into the plate? Okay, so it because of the differences in culture. Okay, you can see that tourism affects your socio and cultural parameters in a certain area. Okay? So, nandyan yung cultural exchange, cultural exploration, education of different cultures. Okay, so these are part of the things that tourism demand and supply affects. Okay? So, so part of giving out education, giving out information are your tour guides. Okay, so this is one event in Thailand. Okay, that will give you as much information about what's happening, why are they doing it. So ang dami. So that's part of the reasons why people go on tours.
The Loy Krathong and Yiping festivals, or as they're more commonly known around the world as the Floating Lantern Festivals of Thailand, are held all throughout the country, and it is a spectacle that you don't want to miss. Trust me. I'm my mate Nate with Thailand69ways.com, and in this video, I'll be taking you through all the various activities so that you can get the most out of your experience when you're here in Thailand. Let's get started. The Loy Krathong Festival is deeply rooted in the Buddhist religion, and there are two main things that they do to celebrate the Loy Krathong Festival. The first is asking forgiveness from the water god for polluting the water and for not conserving enough water in the past year. The second thing they do for Loy Krathong is to get rid of the bad in their lives. They do that by buying these little boats, which can be bought anywhere along the street side, anywhere in Thailand. You buy these boats and you put all the bad in your life, all the bad karma and all the bad things in your life, you put it onto this boat and you let it float away down the river. Not only is this a religious and a cultural festival, but over the years it has evolved into somewhat of a romantic festival. Most of the Thai locals, instead of putting the boats out by themselves, if they have that special someone, they'll buy one boat for the two of them and put it out together. Let's talk about what most people want to see when we talk about the Loy Krathong Festival, which is the floating sky lanterns, not the floating river lanterns. The floating sky lanterns are actually a part of the Lana Festival. It's also known as the Yipeng Festival in Thai. And it just so happens that the Lana and Yipeng Festival coincide with the Loy Krathong Festival. They are actually not related at all whatsoever. They have nothing to do with each other. But they happen on the full moon. That's why people get the Loy Krathong and the Yipeng festivals mixed up into the same festival. Floating the lanterns into the sky is almost the exact opposite of putting the lanterns into the water. When you put the lantern into the sky, you are putting it out there to ask for blessings, that your next year in life is going to be full of riches and to be happy and to be blessed. Because the floating lanterns are a hazard to aircraft and they can also damage important buildings or homes in the area, recently the government has been cracking down, and in the year 2015, the only place you could go to release the sky lanterns was in Chiang Mai. And it just so happens that I was there and was able to capture this amazing footage in 4K quality for you to see. Check it out. Well, that's all I have for you guys. If you have any more questions regarding these festivals or any other festivals anywhere in Thailand, check us out on Thailand69ways.com. I'm my mate Nate, and until next time, be safe, enjoy your travels, and live life to the fullest. See you later.
Okay, so that's a sample of how a tour guide, a information-driven tour, okay, can lead you to explore and to bring in more tourists. Okay, so that's part of events and culture. Okay, yung beliefs, okay, festivals, okay, fiestas. Okay, another reason why or indications that will help put in tourists into certain destinations. Okay, yung awareness. Okay, so psychological and also geographical. Okay, in the Philippines we have a lot of islands, and then we use these islands to create tourism. Okay, so to create tourism influences interest in tours. Okay, so we try to maximize as much. Okay, so you have terrain, places, and then we make sure that we make it as convenient for them to visit. Okay, so these are some of the indicators or the ways of bringing people in. Okay, one of the most iconic sightseeing destinations. Okay, but still a bit hard to go to. Okay, is Batanes. Okay, let's see how Batanes is. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, your tours and travels now are not just based on what you guys see. Okay, so hindi na siya sightseeing, hindi na siya purely hotels or relaxation. you can see a growth in creative demand. Okay, part of creative demand is your food tours. Okay, so kasama na dito yung pag appreciate of the different food varieties in each location. That's part of your sensory travel. Okay, so I would like to show you some tours and travels focusing on food. Okay, so let's start first with Spain.
Hey Spain lovers, you're in Madrid for a couple of days and you want to eat great food. You don't want to eat terrible food. Well, stick with me. On today's Madrid food tour, I'm going to show you the best 10 dishes to eat in the city and the best places to get them. Hey everybody, I'm James Blake, co-founder of Devour Tours. I've lived in Madrid for 7 years, and over that time I've eaten in a lot of places, good and bad. And today I'm going to take you to the places, the 10 places that I would take my friends if I wanted to take them and show them a true taste of the city. 10 amazing dishes, 10 places to get them. It's going to be delicious. Let's start and check it out. Okay, first stop, breakfast. We're going to have the best chocolate in Madrid at a place called El Riojano, which was founded in 1855. It was founded by the pastry chef to the Queen at the time. And the furniture in this place is gorgeous because the Queen lent this pastry chef all her artisans so he could design this place in the most ornate style. Nowadays, it's run by a family. Esperanza is the owner. Her son, Roberto, is the pastry chef. And this is truly the most indulgent, most delicious chocolate in Madrid, and it's perfect to start the day. Let's check it out. Hola, Esperanza.
Hola.
¿Qué tal? Un beso.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Bien.
Pues vamos a probar el chocolate. Sí. Chao. Okay, so what I love about the chocolate here in Riojano is that it's not made with powder. And a lot of chocolate in Madrid or Spain is actually powder-based. But here, Roberto melts down actual chocolate. And when you taste it, it is so rich, it's so deep, but not too sweet. That's key, and really creamy. Oh my God. I remember the first time I had this, and when it hit my lips, it was, I'm not even going to tell you what it was, it would be obscene. And what they serve it here with is a soletilla. It's not churros, a soletilla. And you use this to dunk. It's very simple kind of biscuit or cake, and you dunk your chocolate in it. And, oh my God. One thing that I love about chocolate in Spain is that if you think about chocolate bars, we didn't really turn chocolate into bars until the 19th century with the Industrial Revolution. Before that, liquid is the natural state for chocolate and it has been for hundreds of years. Unbelievable. That is unbelievable. It is so rich, so creamy. I'm going in. Oh my God. Hasta luego. Ciao. Ciao, Roberto. Muchas gracias.
¿Sabes lo que pasa? Que yo...
Dime.
No, me está diciendo la cama.
Sí.
A ti nada, que muchas gracias por todo.
¿Sabes lo que pasa? Sí. This is Roberto, the pastry chef who makes the amazing chocolate. So he's not supposed to be working today, but he loves his business so much that he's decided to come in. Que he dicho que estás tan encantado con el negocio que viene los sábados incluso y los domingos y cualquier cosa. Bueno, chao. Hasta luego. Tortilla de patatas, Spanish omelette. It's a dish that's served everywhere, but only a few are good. And I'm going to show you my favorite place in Madrid to eat this classic Spanish tapa. Hola, Carlos. Hola, Carlos. ¿Qué tal? Muy bien. ¿Y tú? ¿Y tú? Los dos Carlos. Pues tortilla, que me han dicho que se come muy bien la tortilla aquí, que está una tortilla muy rica.
Sale redonda.
Sale redonda. He said that the tortilla here comes out round. He's being very humble, but it's as I say, the best tortilla in Madrid. Pues un pincho de tortilla, por favor, Carlos. Sí, gracias. Aquí estamos. Qué bien. Muchas gracias. Carlos's tortilla is my favorite. Wow. The key reason is he gets the consistency perfect. You can see how it's firm on the outside, gooey and soft, and almost slightly undercooked on the inside. It's so good. Look at that. Wow. That is the perfect tortilla. That consistency. And let me try it. Oh wow. It's literally a dish that is so simple. It has so few ingredients. Onion, although some people don't use onion, but onion, potato, egg, salt, olive oil. That's it. This bar, it was Carlos's wife, Maria Angeles, her father's bar before that. There's a photo of him on the wall. And then when they got married, Carlos took it over and he perfected his tortilla. This is right here in the center of Madrid, and tourists never find this place. I love it. And I always have it with a beer. It's a little early, but hey, who's counting? Oh my God. Cheers. By the way, when you're ordering beer in Madrid, order this size, una caña. Don't order anything bigger. You can get a doble, which is double the size. If you get anything bigger than that, you're probably in a tourist trap. Okay, we've had Madrid's best tortilla, and now we're going to have the aperitif before we have more food. Now, this is an alcoholic drink, and it's kind of never too early to drink alcohol in Spain. It's a cultural thing, day drinking. I've already had my beer, and now we're going to have vermouth served on tap in a really famous location. Let's check it out. Wow, this place is heaving. On a Saturday morning, the San Miguel market is out of control. It's a tapas heaven, but if you know where to go, and it can be a little touristy, and you know, there's some good things and some bad things. It's a beautiful building, and it's a lot of fun here. You can get wine and walk around, but here's the thing, if you know where to go, there's some fantastic places here to eat and drink, particularly the wine. There's a great wine bar, and there's this great vermouth stop that I want to show you called La Hora de Vermouth. We're going to head there now. I'm going to get a vermouth, and I'm going to tell you what vermouth is. The Mercado San Miguel is known as a place where tourists do come to, but that actually doesn't do it justice. This place was once a traditional market built in the early 20th century, and it was going to close down in the 80s, but it's being reinvented and turned into this wonderful tapas place. And there's a place here that I love to get vermouth on tap. It's called La Hora de Vermouth. Yeah, it's busy here right now, but it's fun as well. You're gonna fight your way to that. What is vermouth? It's this drink we drink before lunch, before dinner here in Madrid, Barcelona as well, to open our appetites. It's a fortified, aromatized wine that's been colored and sweetened with a bit of caramel. It's actually a white wine, and it has all these flavors of herbs and botanicals served on ice with a slice of orange. Perfect to open your appetite to then, keep on eating and drinking. And I'm going to pair it with some nibbles as well, some really classic vermouth nibbles. So, salud, cheers. Wow, really good. Okay, I'm going to go for this skewer. We've got here green pickled pepper, pickled anchovy. We've got an olive with a pepper stuffed in it. I don't think I can get this all in my mouth at once. Wow. The combination of vinegary, pickled flavors goes perfectly with the sweet